Hi there. Today we're going to explore the plot of the 2013 film Beneath. Teenagers head to the lake to celebrate graduation, but soon their vacation turns into a real fight for survival when something terrifying emerges from the water. Let's find out who among them will make it back to shore. A boy named Johnny is dreaming about his pretty classmate Kitty. He imagines that she is swimming next to him in the lake, smiling sweetly. But unfortunately, it's only a dream. In real life, they're just friends. Johnny packs his backpack and heads to the lake with his friends. Among them are Kitty, her boyfriend Matt, her friend Deb, a bespectacled guy named Zeke, and Matt's brother Simon. This year they are all graduating from high school and have decided to celebrate this joyful event. Zeke tries to flirt with Deb, but she turns him down. Meanwhile, Simon stares longingly at Kitty and Matt and nearly gets into an accident. It seems he has feelings for her too. The group arrives at the pier. Johnny opens the gate and the car drives up to the shore. The teens jump out, unload their stuff. They've brought lots of food and drinks. Zeke turns on his camera. Everyone is ready to have fun by the lake. There's a large boat with 2 oars waiting by the shore. It belongs to Johnny's neighbor, Mr. Parks. The teens carefully lower the boat into the water. It's not easy, as it's quite heavy. Kitty notices there's no cell signal here. Johnny explains that this is Black Lake. Strange things often happen here. He gives Kitty a necklace and asks her to wear it, saying it's a protective charm. But Kitty refuses and gives the gift back. Johnny's neighbor, Mr. Parks, comes over. He used to be good friends with Johnny's grandfather. The old man asks Johnny to be very careful and not to go into the water under any circumstances. He says this lake must be treated with special respect. Johnny looks at him in surprise. Soon the boat pushes off from the shore. The friends are rowing and enjoying their time. Only Johnny seems uneasy. He has a feeling there's something in the water. In the middle of the lake, the girls put on their swimsuits and Matt takes off his shirt. They're planning to swim and sunbathe. Johnny asks everyone to return to the shore to light a fire before dark, but no one listens to him. Zeke takes photos of the girls, and they jump into the water with Matt. Meanwhile, Simon launches a small firework. Johnny puts on the necklace he had earlier tried to give to Kitty. At that moment, the friends feel the boat start to rock. It seems something large is moving in the water nearby. Everyone starts to panic and wants to go back to shore. But it turns out the boat was rocking because of Matt. He had taken a sip of whiskey, smiled, and turned back to the girls. Kitty and Deb feel like real mermaids. They've just finished school and now feel completely free. But suddenly the boat begins to shake again, and this time it's clearly not Matt's doing. Johnny spots the silhouette of a giant fish in the water. It swims toward the girls and Matt, but then passes by without touching anyone. However, Kitty feels like something brushed against her under the water. Kitty, Matt, and Deb climb back into the boat. Now everyone understands. There's something in the lake. They start hitting the water with their oars, trying to see the mysterious creature. In the process, they lose one oar. The current carries it away. Deb reaches out for it, and at that moment, a massive fish with sharp teeth appears nearby. It manages to bite her. Matt ties up Deb's arm using a belt and a few ropes. They need to reach the shore as fast as possible. Matt tries to grab the second oar, but the giant fish bites it in half. Deb loses consciousness. She has lost too much blood. The friends try to row toward the shore with the remaining oar. There's no cell service, so calling for help is impossible. The giant fish tries once again to overturn the boat and then breaks the last remaining oar. Simon falls overboard in the process, but the friends manage to pull him back in. There is at least one piece of good news. It seems the bloodthirsty fish was wounded by part of the second oar. The guys accuse Johnny of knowing the lake's secret but never telling them. Kitty is convinced that Johnny was hiding the truth. After all, he had earlier tried to give her a protective necklace. Johnny admits that he had heard legends from his grandfather about a terrible creature that lived in the lake, but he had never believed those tales. Zeke says they need bait, and with that goal in mind, they decide to use Deb. The friends say a prayer, and with heavy hearts, lower their friend into the water. They hope the giant fish will focus on the prey and leave them alone for a while, giving them a chance to reach the shore. Unfortunately, the predator makes quick work of its target and soon starts pursuing the boat again. Matt uses the lid of a small cooler as a makeshift oar, but the fish breaks that too. The teenagers throw all the food into the water, but the predator ignores the offering. They try paddling with their hands, but the boat barely moves. On top of that, it's slowly sinking, and they're forced to keep scooping water out constantly. Zeke suggests they need another piece of bait and proposes a vote. Whoever gets the most votes must voluntarily sacrifice themselves to save the others. An argument breaks out. Everyone wants to survive. Some vote against Johnny, others against Zeke. Johnny receives the most votes. He calls his friends traitors and jumps into the water. The predatory fish immediately goes after him. Johnny paddles with all his strength and soon disappears from sight. The others don't know what happened to him and continue paddling toward the shore. Kitty argues with Zeke, calling him a coward and a deceitful person. The giant fish returns to the boat once again. The boys find some leftover fireworks and firecrackers and try to scare the creature away. It works for a short while, but they soon run out of pyrotechnics, and the fish comes back. Matt wants to throw Zeke overboard. A frightened Zeke claims that it should be Kitty instead, because supposedly she's having a romance not just with Matt, but also with his brother Simon. According to Zeke, he even has video proof. Matt and Simon explode with rage and throw Zeke overboard along with his camera, ignoring his cries and tears. Soon the giant fish appears, and Zeke doesn't stand a chance. We see that Johnny has survived. He managed to reach the shore. The boy decides to go back for Kitty because he truly loves her. He notices a motorboat on the shore. Meanwhile, Matt reflects on Zeke's words. He realizes he no longer trusts Kitty. The brothers find Johnny's backpack in the boat. It turns out he had brought a small hatchet. Simon tries paddling with the cooler again, but the fish quickly breaks it, then bites off a chunk of the boat. Kitty grabs Johnny's hatchet and wounds the predator. They need to take advantage of this moment and get to the shore as fast as possible. Another boat appears on the lake. It's Johnny. He wants to save his friends. To do so, he needs to tow their boat. Johnny approaches and throws them a rope. Matt ties one end of it to their boat. Johnny starts the motor. The enormous fish appears again nearby and rams Johnny's boat. He begins to spin around along with the rope, which tightens around his neck. Kitty wants to cut it to save him, but Matt and Simon forbid her from doing so. The brothers try to pull Johnny's boat closer, but it capsizes. Yet another chance for salvation is lost forever. Matt and Simon notice that the fish is swimming up to Johnny, but for some unknown reason, it doesn't touch him. Meanwhile, their own boat is taking on more and more water. Matt takes the hatchet and chops off a few boards to use them as makeshift paddles. They row toward the shore. Matt remembers Zeke's words again. He starts a scene of jealousy directed at Kitty and his brother. The girl's unfaithfulness worries him even more than the deadly fish. Matt proposes another vote. Someone has to be the next bait. Matt and Simon vote against each other. The brothers start arguing and then fighting right there on the boat. Kitty tries to stop the conflict, but it's no use. In the end, her vote must be the deciding one. After a short pause, Matt and Simon come to a conclusion. The greatest threat on the boat is not each other, but Kitty. They believe that she is to blame for all the misfortunes and decide that there is no place for her among them. The brothers grab the girl and forcibly throw her overboard. Kitty tries to get back into the boat, but Simon and Matt don't let her climb back in. Left without support, the girl is forced to swim to shore on her own. Matt and Simon remain alone on the boat. Tension between them builds, and soon they start another brutal fight. In the heat of the struggle, both brothers fall into the water. During the fall, Simon hits his head and sustains a serious injury. The smell of blood immediately attracts the predatory fish. Matt sees that his brother is in danger and decides to save him. He grabs Simon and begins dragging him toward the shore. But Simon, now in the water, spots the giant fish. Realizing he won't have time to escape along with his brother, he makes a brutal decision. He shoves Matt straight into the predator's jaws. While the creature is occupied with its prey, Simon seizes the moment and swims to shore alone. We see that Kitty hasn't made it to the shore. She's lying on Johnny's overturned motorboat, staring thoughtfully at the dark water. She pulls Johnny's body closer to herself and removes from his neck the necklace he had once tried to give her. Immediately afterward, the fish fully pulls Johnny under the water. Kitty believes that the amulet will protect her, so she puts it around her neck and begins swimming toward the shore. And indeed, the giant fish does not touch her. But in the shallows, the girl encounters Simon. She saw what he just did to his brother and realizes she's now in mortal danger. Simon approaches and notices the necklace around her neck. He recognizes Johnny's gift. The boy begins to suspect that Kitty and Johnny had conspired and deliberately lured everyone to the lake. He approaches the girl, kisses her, and then suddenly pushes her underwater. Kitty tries to resurface, but Simon holds her tightly, not letting her breathe. Simon walks onto the shore late at night. There he meets Mr. Parks, Johnny's elderly neighbor. The old man asks where the others are and learns that no one but Simon survived. Mr. Parks sadly says that Johnny was a good kid. Then he shows Simon a video camera, the same one that had earlier belonged to Zeke. But that's not all. The old man is holding a pistol and demands that Simon return to the lake immediately. Simon refuses, and Mr. Parks pulls the trigger several times. Terrified, Simon dives into the water, trying to escape, but he doesn't make it. The enormous fish emerges from the depths and instantly drags him to the bottom. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.